I don't know what's about to come out.
Gotcha. I got you. I think I figured it out the other day. I was recording with one of my old supervisors, and he wasn't able to get on Zoom, but I was just able to keep it recording, and then I just had it on speaker like I've got you now, and I think that'll work
Okay.
out just fine.
Oh, okay, cool. Bet.
So tell me about it. How is it?
Bro, let me tell you something, man. First, it was worth the investment, right? Because I guess this is the third cohort that they've done, and it's so like there's a lot of things that's still growing, and there's a lot of so like it was great for for me because I got to see it in its rawness. You know what I mean? Like it's a finished product. It's a polished product, but like the rawness being, ET's still teaching it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like it's not like somebody else who's teaching us. So when you pay the money, you pay to get taught by ET. So like that's one thing that he mentioned is like, I don't want you guys to feel like you got gypped because you paid, you invested into this,
right.
and and I wanted to make sure that I was the one that was teaching the class. You know what I mean? So and that's one thing that was powerful because I was like, wow, okay, like it's not like he he believes in the product obviously, but
right.
Yeah, it's not like he just handed it off to somebody else.
Right.
So, but I know as the program grows and to have more, and to have it more frequently, and as his schedule also gets busier,
right.
It's gonna be less and less. So like that's why I was so glad to be able to take this specific one because it was it was so powerful. Yeah, man. Like so. Oh,
go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say, lay it on me. What's like one or two things right off the top of your head that either like stood out or that's like just bouncing around in your head?
Self-assess, bro. Like, this is to help people, but mostly it's to also help yourself. But it's also, for monetary needs, it's another means of income. But before even the monetary part, it's like you got to be able to know yourself before you can help somebody else.
Right.
Like I've always believed in that, but being able to truly have a tool that can take you like inch by inch into your own world and show you where you are lacking. A lot of people don't like it, but I can tell you for me, it was, okay, I see that. I need to fix that. Okay, that's broken or that hasn't been dealt with. I need to deal with that. So, it was shedding light to certain things, like certain changes that I need to make or, adjustments that I need to be able to make, on a snap of the finger. And, what we learned today is that, there's those characteristics that stick out, right? But you don't use your superpower for everything. Like it's not one size fits all.
Right.
So you're gonna have to adapt into certain characteristics in order for you to get certain things done.
Gotcha.
And and for me, it was like when I'm in my adaptive, my decision making goes low. Right. And and then I'm like, okay, well, my S stays the same, like it drops 2 points. So that's not good because that means I don't like change. I stayed the same in that area, which that's the one that needs to kind of be able to adjust to certain things, but I don't adjust well.
Right.
So I've always prided myself, and let me not say always. There's that. So yeah, I'm using my phone as a GPS too. So
you're fine.
So for being in the military and everything, I had prided myself as what, I'm a decision maker. I'm good under pressure, and adjust to whatever comes up. But then that was only in the military though, because that was required.
Right.
Because I knew mentally in my subconscious that's a requirement for me to be a leader. But it wasn't something that I naturally do. So going back to civilian life, it has showed me the gap that, listen, you don't like change.
Right.
So when something happens, when you plan certain things and they don't happen the way that you plan them, you get frustrated. So for me, I thought that was just like, man, that's not me. That's not me. No, but that's been the whole entire time. It's just now I'm aware of it. Because I wasn't aware, because at first I was like, man, like I adapt well. So I had to pull myself to think that, hey, listen, I can adapt under pressure, just whatever. I'm like, yo,
right.
like that's, help me survive, because then I stopped myself because I said, that's why it helped me survive. So I was living off, in survival mode, but when I'm not in survival mode, which I shouldn't be in survival mode all the time.
Right, right.
And so, so like that's, for me, that was my biggest aha moment. Like, yo, you're this, this doesn't work all the time. Like, you have to understand and you have to know how to jump in and out of characteristics and in and out of, certain things. So for me, that's definitely what it did for me, and it showed me more of who my wife is. So now I understand in depth on, okay, this is why we butt heads all the time, right? Because I don't like structure.
Right.
I structure bugs me. But then I'm like, wait, but I was structured in the military though.
Right.
And then again, it comes up with that, but that was because it was required. Because I knew my subconscious, it's a requirement. Structure is a requirement.
Right.
I struggled with it. I was always kind of pushing the deadlines. You know what I mean? Like, I was, like I was that person that was like cutting it close all the time, because I was like, I need to do it in my own way.
Right.
So like, I have boundaries, but I thrived in it because I had boundaries. Out here, it's like structure is like, I have to create my own structure, but I don't know how to create my own structure. And so, also another thing is, because I had to ask, I was like, listen, is it that innately, like within us, we married a person who we need versus we want, like, there's that phase of attraction, there's a phase of just, oh wow, she's cool, whatever, but after that wears off, then when people start butting heads, is because now they're facing what they need, not what they want. They're facing that thing that they're lacking.
Right.
So where I'm lacking structure, when my wife has structure and provides structure, it reminds me too much of my mom. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to marry my mom.
Right.
But it's like, nah, like, like, you're not my mom. Stop being on my head. But then I realized like she's a big support, like her, she's a high C.
Yeah, she's trying to balance you out.
Yeah. So like, she balances me out, and equally she's high C, and I want to say a high S as well. Because she's a very support. Like, support is her thing. Like,
right.
Hey, what do we need to get this done? Boom, 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 boom. So she's like, she gets things done. She sees what needs to get done. She gets things done. But where the S can kind of get confused as a D by certain characteristics, because they share a lot of the same characteristics, but it just, the S's take a longer time to execute, because they still got to think through it. They still got to systemize it. But where the D's are like, yo, results, I need them now. Like, boom, like, I need results. And so, at first I thought she was a D. Like, the first time I've ever taken the assessment, which was like 2 years ago when Chris did it.
Yeah.
I thought. No, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I was saying yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So when he first did it and I took it, I was like, ooh, wow, yeah. Like, my wife is definitely a D. Like, she's definitely a D. But then she took it,
Yeah.
and she, because I kept telling her, yeah, like, you definitely a D. And then she took it, and she wasn't. We were kind of like, oh, wait. So is this test wrong? Because I was convinced, and she was convinced that she was,
Right.
I did.
Right.
But then now I know, sometimes the S's can get confused as D's.
Is it the S or is it the C, like the really structured ones?
The S's. I'm sorry. Yeah, like the S. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's the C's, right? Because it's the one on the far right and the far left.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So like the C's can get really confused as because they get things done. They get things done, but they just got to get it done once.
Right, and they're really meticulous with it. That's what it is.
Very meticulous with it. So like that's the difference. Like that these don't care about the details.
Right.
They still want to get results. Like the C's want results too, but they put more detail into it.
Mm-hmm.
So like understanding all those that literally triggered a lot of things. Like, oh, boom, that makes sense. Okay, that's why. So yeah, man. Like it. Like I've been driving this whole entire time. Like, oh, okay. Like those delayed aha moments. Like, oh, wow, okay, makes sense now.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that makes sense now. And I'm looking at certain people different now. Not that like because I thought one way about them.
Right.
But then now that I'm like, oh, okay, so
now you see them in a different light. Right.
Now I'm like, oh, okay. Like the one example that was given was literally kind of like when you buy a car and now you see it everywhere.
Right.
So like taking this course is literally like, okay, I'm seeing people that like, things I've noticed, but like now I'm just more in tune with it.
Right.
I'm like, gotcha. So, but yeah, man, it was like I was geeking out because it reminded me so much of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Because it was like, Tony Stark only uses like his suit, Iron Man suit, when required. Like, he doesn't always wear it because he's Iron Man. He knows he's Iron Man.
Right.
He tells everybody he's Iron Man. Man, like anytime that he doesn't let anybody forget that he's Iron Man. But he doesn't put a suit on all the time. And so, and it's like, even in his suit, depending on who he's fighting, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's in his suit, like, okay, I need you to adjust this, adjust that. I need you to elevate this. Okay, okay, yeah, here it comes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he like that's to me, that was, like, the perfect example. And then the other one was more like, the Infinity War when like the Hulk refused to come out because he got beat so bad by Thanos on another planet. He's like, no, I don't want to come out.
Right.
No, you cannot summon me. And so, and then in the end games, you see it as like he had finally learned how to balance the Hulk and Bruce out because like he wasn't only bringing the Hulk out for bad things.
Right.
It was also letting the Hulk do some good. And so bringing his superpower to literally like maximize his capability. And so, because not every situation needed a Hulk.
Right.
But the Hulk also realized that not every, like certain situation needed Bruce.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, like that was like my, my geeky mind playing,
Well, I mean, even to your point, it's like just like where you see the two different fights between like Infinity War, where you've got Iron Man. I thought you were going to talk about like when like Thanos's henchmen first show up to the planet, and then Bruce, like the Hulk won't come out there, so it's like Bruce Banner's kind of like helpless, and then Tony comes out with all the gadgets and things. He's already planned for this, planned for that, and it's like they go there, they kind of fail, they go all the way to Thanos's planet, and you have all these heroes. They're all coming in, trying this, trying that, and it's like it's just not working. But then when you fast forward to the second movie and you've got them all coming together, like even before like they have the big old thing, and I'm sure if somebody hasn't seen it by now, it's like spoiler alert or whatnot, but before before they have like this big old battle royale, you have the like big three going up against Thanos, and you have them like coming in, and they've pretty much mastered what they do. And
Right, right.
you've got Thor. He may be looking overweight or whatnot, but he's dual wielding over here. You've got Cap. He's just like bringing in that sheer force, and then you got Iron Man. That's just like, hey, I'm gonna give you this work. And then Thanos is just like, well, I'm kind of all of you put together. Like I've mastered myself, and you still can't handle me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, I guess I didn't really make a point with that, but just to geek out a little bit, it's funny how you see different characters have different roles they play. And when I guess the point I was getting to is that when you put them all collectively together and you see them gel where one person follows up after the move of another, it's like
Yeah.
really that beast of a thing where it's like, okay, like now you see like where people shine in their strengths, and it look less like nobody's focused so much on the weaknesses when you see like the collective come together.
Right. Yeah. 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 It really like, I don't know, man. Like, because there's like a geeky person probably hopefully listening to this. Like what? Like once you watch those two movies, or if you've seen those two movies, you will start to find a lot of correlation. Honestly, a lot of correlation into what we're talking about, because it is so applicable
Right.
into and you start I start using those now because I noticed them. I like I've I've noticed them in my own life. I've like yeah yeah
Yeah.
it's just been one of those things that you can't unsee
Right.
like once
Right.
yeah
I think
yeah
I think I heard E or somebody say it's something to do with exposure. It's like once your mind's been expanded to a certain thing, it can never go back. Like
right
once you've
right
been stretched, like I think for a good part of this year, I kind of tried to go backwards, like either by self sabotage or just like I got to a point to where I was either like somewhat burnt out or I just felt like, man, I really don't want to do anything. I just want to be lazy. And like I remember there was a song by Bruno Mars, and it's like
yeah
I don't want to do
I
any
just want to do anything
right. And like
yeah
the first time I heard that song, it just like pissed me off so much because I was like, I hate it. Like I don't hate a lot of things, but I just despised it because I was like, I just heard it at the moment where I just got on the ET kick, and I was listening to a video talking about being obsessed with improvement, like getting into reading, getting into like just kind of getting the new playbook, like the new game, and you're kind of saying like, oh, okay, like here's where the world is, and I'm over here on the other side, and like the world keeps turning whether I know it or not, and whether you want to play the game or not, like whatever the game might be for you. I think last time we talked about like you can hustle, like getting busy, getting to work, or you can like be a hustler where you try and like take the shortcuts. And
right
it's like there's all of that going on in the world, and what we kind of have to realize is like when you become conscious, or where somebody like kind of taps you on the shoulder and they wake you up to what's going on. It's like, hey, here's welcome to the world, like you're born again, like just in case you missed it, here's what's going on, here's how money works, here's how education works, here's what you can find in books, here's
right
like
right
specific books you can go to. And then it's not just like you just kind of floating along in space where it's like, oh, okay, like I'm supposed to go to school or I'm getting a job, okay, the job's not good, oh, my friend's not happy with me, wife's not happy with me, parents aren't happy with me. It's like you can kind of go with the mundane, but then once you get exposed to like a big chunk of information, which is like a mind shift, that definitely, like, as soon as you're able to shift your mind, it opens up the possibilities to be like, okay, like maybe I need to look at my finances differently. Maybe I need to look at my spirituality. Maybe I need to look at my health. Maybe I need
Right.
to look at like not just my physical health, but like your mental health, your um uh what is it? Like you've got physical, mental, spiritual, economics, maybe like those four. Those are like four big things that are like four pillars in a lot of, in I guess you could say, the every man's life or the everyday life, which if one of those kind of get out of whack, it can kind of put you off balance where okay, you can be happy with your family and you can have maybe like money, but if you don't have like, I guess some people when they hear spirituality, it maybe goes towards religion.
Right.
And it's like at times like I veer towards it and I kind of veer away from it. But I've noticed that whether it's meditation that people do or just like quiet time that you spend by yourself, it's like there's something there where you're either spending time talking to a higher power or you're spending time alone with your thoughts and you're actually having to like face yourself or have to reason with what's going on inside your mind without being distracted by anything else. And it's like if you ever try to sit still for 1 minute or like up to 10 minutes and you've never done that before, like 1 minute will go by and you feel like, man, this is like 10 hours. Like, what's going on? Like, are the lights on? Is somebody knocking at the door? Like, is this like what, like you just start looking around, and even if you're not somebody that would think they fidget before, just like just try and
Yeah,
sit
try to sit for
just try and sit
yeah.
quiet, even if we like left like a dead minute of silence on the air, it would just be like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's like, but whenever you become kind of conscious of that, it's a great thing. And I hope that with what you learned over the weekend that you are able to take it and kind of map it out over the rest of the year and kind of going forward. And I'm sure you already have that turning in the back of your mind to where it's not just like, okay, I got a bunch of information, I'm excited, and I'm gonna go to sleep. And it's like, what was I doing again? Yeah, I don't want to read that anymore. Let me let me go on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at 2020 different because now I understand where I had gone wrong in in my setting my goals, right? Or not necessarily even setting goals, but saying, okay, hey, this is my New Year's resolution. Like falling into that whole pitfall. Like I definitely see where I've fallen
Mm-hmm.
because I would make a goal without structure. So
Oh, okay, okay,
it would just be a goal.
right,
If I hit it, okay, that's cool.
yeah,
But I didn't put a date on it. I didn't put structure on it to make sure that I'm like following through. Like that was like that's been my 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 adversity.
mm-hmm.
Like and I don't want to say adversity. And I don't want to use the word struggle because today we had to change our language as
Right,
to how we look at certain things.
mm,
And so because that also helps you you know clear up your mind. It's
right,
like, okay,
right,
this is not a problem. This is just currently right now. I'm figuring out how to work through this. You know what I mean? So,
right, right,
following through, like, because I know that's somewhere in where I'm not detail oriented.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of throw me off. Like my follow through game, suffers.
Yeah,
And so yeah, it's definitely difficult to try to get it back on program when I'm like, okay, what do I do now?
right. But I guess
Yeah,
like one thing when like you said at the beginning, what's not your strong suit, so then you don't have to you know, like who has that strong suit that's within your inner circle already. So it's like
Exactly.
you have some, you know, okay, I can't do this necessarily that great. Instead of me trying to like spend all this time and like work on fixing this inadequacy, you can get to it, but I think it's either like the 80-20 rule or something like that, where it's like the more you get more by doing less. Like
Right.
20% of the things that you do account for 80% of the results that you get. Like you might say,
Yes.
I've got 5 different things to do, but really maybe one of those things is really the most important thing you need to be paying attention to, while you could delegate the other 4.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Like that's where I was unfortunately spending a lot of my time trying to figure it out, and
Mm-hmm.
and now it's like, okay, okay, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it now. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's definitely been one for the road, bro. Like, and
Literally.
yeah, yeah, literally speaking. Are you gonna go to the 1% conference?
The one coming up next weekend?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna go. I've got some work to do here. I've got
Okay.
to continue recording, continue doing some self-assessing myself, and writing this stuff down, and just continue mapping out what I need to do. Go back and read um, what I got from the last conference, and make sure that I've got this.
So
Well,
actually, sorry,
go ahead.
have you taken the assessment, right?
Yeah, I took it, I think twice, but I think
Did
I
you take
needed
the new one?
the passport one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took that one.
Okay. All right. So on record, because we are recording,
Yeah.
I like, if possible, I want to use you as my, I don't want to say practice run, but I want to know that that what I've put to work, or
Yeah.
what I've learned, can help you along the way.
Okay.
So which takes all the guesswork out of it, because you've already taken it and you understand it. So like, helping me go through it, as well as like, hey, let me actually use this.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you don't mind, shoot it to me.
All right. The new
And
one or the older one?
the new one.
Okay. Because I think the older one might be more uh, authentic. I guess it's funny how it came out. It's like 99 turtle, 99 chameleon, and I took it with a friend of mine, and it was like, "What's taking you so long?" It took her like 12 minutes, and I was like,
Oh man.
it took me maybe like 30, and I was like, well, the reason it took me so long, I was like, I wanted to make sure I knew what these words meant.
There you
So
go.
I looked up every single one, and I was like,
Honestly,
I
there's
don't know
nothing
about
wrong
that
with that.
one.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just like, that's you.
Yeah. And
Yeah. So like,
it's
yeah.
funny because I remember back in college I went to Walmart with one of my roommates, and like as we were shopping, I just started like organizing my stuff. Like I put my stuff on my side, his stuff on his side, and I just like stuff in order. And
Right.
then
Right.
he
Right.
turns
Right.
around and he's just like, I guess he was on Facebook Live or something, and he was just like, man, my roommate's so OCD, look at this. And he took a picture and he sent it to me. And I think if you ever go on there, you can see it. It's just like a shopping cart that's got the groceries split, and it's got it like in a neat little stack. And I was like, I don't even think about it. It's just like, it's that like that conformity where it's like, okay, you go through school, you love it, you go through church, or you go through like studying devotion every day, and it's just like everything's order structure, and it's like trying to, like, that's always what I saw as like, that's what you have to live up to. And I never really had any reason to buck against that, or
Yeah.
to go against it. And I guess more so recently, I can tell where there are times where, like, if you don't, there are certain things that you need to speak your mind on. Otherwise, you start to like build this internal resentment. And then you start to have resentment against either the people that have put things on you or people that you haven't been able to express yourself to say, hey, like, this is where I draw the line. Like, you stop there. I might not be a 99 gorilla, but even if I've got like 10 or 25, like, you're going to get all of that in one go.
Right.
Like, if you break this plane, and if I don't tell you about it, you might step over accidentally and just get what somebody else might have gotten.
Wow. 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 Bro, that's deep. That is deep. Man. It has literally, like, I honestly, because you'd be a great candidate for being a coach for a lot of people who are more analytical. Or there's so much, again, for the lack of better words, power.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are analytical, and so like you analyze certain things to and that explains honestly what field you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even with it, it's like what's funny is that, like, yeah, you're right, it does explain it, but even to that degree, I've seen, like, being curious enough to step outside of like everybody else that I see around me, and it's like, okay, like, this person said this isn't a good idea, this person said this isn't a good idea, so I'll send you my first one. I'm not able to find my the second one I took, but once I find it, I'll send it to you as well. But
perfect.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's like ITT
metrics.
or yeah, there's an intermetrics one, and then there's the
But what was I saying? Oh, so for me, I know getting into engineering, I already knew what engineers were viewed as in college.
Right.
And it's like I tried to shake that a little bit to where it's like, okay, we're known for being antisocial, or like a good number of engineers are more or less antisocial or not as sociable or easily be, or whatever the word is. Like, you just have a hard time communicating your thoughts and ideas, and that's a huge problem. If you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't tell anybody about it, it's kind of worthless. To where it's like, it doesn't matter what you know, like, there's always going to be somebody controlling your fate or your destiny because they're able to articulate their words cleverly.
Exactly.
Even if they're like sneaky about it, or if they're not 100% true, but if they're able to say something to some degree, it's like they may get over on you. So that's part of the reason why, for me, I started doing the personal development. I started doing Toastmasters from somebody suggesting to say, okay, I want to be able to communicate and get away from like the monotone voice. Like, I can keep the calmness, but at the same time, if I can interact with somebody without them just putting a label on me, like, oh, you're an engineer. They're like, oh, wait, you're an engineer? And it's like, I got that a few times because I'd just be like, oh, I'm in construction. And it's like, I usually dress down, or like, you get so used to working out in the field, you're just wearing like your construction clothes. So somebody may see me and be thinking like, oh, that, I don't know, that's a janitor or something like that. It's like, cool. I'd rather be the janitor and be nobody than like pretend to be somebody and like
and not
and mess it up, or just like right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I think it's like a biblical thing where it says that it's easier to pretend to be poor than it is to pretend to be rich, because it's like, you can only pretend to be rich for so long until like the money,
until you found out.
right? And then after that, it's like if you spend so much time pretending, you didn't take any time to actually build up anything, and then
Right.
once the little that you had is gone, like the few people that were around you, they'll just kind of scatter like roaches, and then go hang out with like the next person that has the money.
Yep. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. To the T. To the T. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It is. It's insane. But hey, let me call you back. My
Okay.
wife is calling me right now.
I'm sending you this now.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Cool. I'll look for your call.
All right, bro.
Bye.